Hey, all right. How's it going? We're back to another Saturday night. If someone in the chat could give me a quick sound is good, then we will get started and we'll do a quick roll call and then get into it, guys. So, just waiting for a quick sound is good. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. And we will start to. I got new headphones, guys. Look at this. Aren't these cool? All right, thanks, Alan. Okay, so let's see. Here's who we got. We got Delroy here first in at 8:01 p.m. We got Amber. We got Tennessee Cherokee. Married to the KGB. We got Alan here. Good to see you, man. YouTube channel member. I appreciate that, dude. We got Jeffrey here. Good to see you. Laura is here. Donnie, YouTube channel member. Thank you for the support. Hello from Illinois. We got Bushranger here. Wild day. Be nice to get a break from the news and hear some cool encounter stories. I hope that will happen, my friend. We got Brian here from Venice Beach. Good to see ya. We got G Money from New Orleans. We got Saleya here. Howdy, y'all. Montana here. Good to see ya. Thanks for being a YouTube channel member, Saleya. We got Gene. Good old Gene from Eastern Iowa. Good to see you, man. Laura from Missouri here. Bobby Younts, good to see ya. Also YouTube channel member. We've got Dave here, and we got Jeffrey. I think I already called out Jeff. You got 2 shout-outs, dude. All right, so here we go. If you are new to this, every Saturday night we try to do a live call-in show, Bigfoot Encounters Live. I'm going to go ahead and put this up right now. So, guys, this is live right now on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. If you have a Bigfoot encounter, go ahead, call on in. I've got the phone revved up, ready to go, and you can share your Bigfoot encounter live on the air. This is recorded for the podcast Bigfoot Society, so you do need to go over to bit.ly/Bigfoot forum, fill out the guest release first, and then hit that phone number that's on your screen. Let's see. Oh, Donnie's here. Good to see you, Donnie. Thanks for being a YouTube channel member as well. Guys, it's a big week. Let's talk about the week. This will make someone call in once I start just kind of chatting about stuff. Big week. We are headed. I am headed out to Oak Ridge, Oregon. It's happened finally. Finally, the week is upon us. We are headed out there, flying out midweek, setting up interviews ahead of time right now with a few people from the town. Man, I've been calling businesses in the town like crazy. Jackie's in the chat. Good to see you, Jackie. Thanks for being a YouTube channel member as well. So I've been calling businesses. I've been saying, hey, where are the Bigfoot people? Who do I need to talk to? I've been getting behind the scenes info. Hey, the old timers hang out here. You probably need to hit them up. I've got interviews set up ahead of time, and then the festival is going to be crazy. It's going to be like 3 days of wild Sasquatch festival in the mountains of the Willamette National Forest. It's going to be wild. I am pumped. So I'm headed out there. We're going to have a good time, ready to capture some live in-person encounters. It's going to be a good time. So you do not want to miss that. Some wild stuff coming, and I gotta leave it at that. So more to come on that. All right, guys, phone lines are open. We've got quite the crew hanging out here. We already got almost 60 people hanging out. If you've got a Bigfoot encounter, if you've had seen something in the woods you think is Bigfoot, tonight is the night to call in and do it. We're just hanging out, trying to get a break from the craziness. Guys, I also want to tell you something. If you're on TikTok and you're not following Bigfoot Society, you need to be following Bigfoot Society over there. I've been doing a lot of lives over there in kind of the same format that we're doing here. But I'll tell you, there are people over there that are sharing some wild stories, and we get a crazy amount of people sharing. Now, I love YouTube. I mean, I was doing YouTube before the TikTok, but guys, TikTok is crazy. So Bigfoot.society on TikTok if you want to not miss out on the good stuff over there. Oh, we got Hike with Mike in here. Hey, dude, how's it going? Good to see ya. Yeah, there's going to be some interesting videos. There's going to be some interesting videos that are coming. I'm starting to do behind the scenes stuff, and those are for YouTube channel members and Patreon members. I haven't released any yet, but we'll give you a sneak peek. And this is almost done editing. If you remember when we went out on a Bigfoot expedition in Iowa, my son and I, and we had some weird stuff happen, I have been working on getting a video together for that, and it's long. It's almost 50 minutes. It's like 40 to 50 minutes long. I took way more video than I thought, and that's going to be for the Patreon members and YouTube channel members in the production assistant tier. So you definitely want to be now it's out in the open. Now I gotta do it, but I'm waiting on one sound clip to come back. I'm having some people take a look at it or take a listen to it, and after that, then I can really get stuff all together, and then hopefully you'll be seeing that. I can't promise before I go out to Oregon, but you will be seeing it soon. So, and then some wild stuff is going to happen out in Oregon, and there'll probably be a video of that too. It's going to be crazy, guys. Gonna be crazy. Yeah, Slaya is excited. It's going to be wild. Slaya's a YouTube channel member, also a Patreon member, so either way, she's in the gang for sure. Guys, we're having a good night. Let me know where you all are watching from today. Throw it in the comments if you haven't already. I'm going to double check. Let me double check the phone here just to make sure we're good. And also, another thing you can do is if you've had a Bigfoot encounter, you can put it in the comments too. You can kind of share in the comments if you don't want to call in. Go ahead and share it in the comments as well. I'm just kind of taking a minute to check out. We're going to check it out. What am I doing? Google Voice is what I'm checking out, guys. Okay. It looks good. It looks like we're good to go. All right, let's see. Jackie, yes, Jackie's going to be at Sasquatch Summerfest as well. I'm excited for next weekend. Willamette Valley, Oregon. We got, man, Jeffries from Rockford, Illinois. Awesome. Charles, all the way from Bristol, UK. Charles, what time is it over there? Man, you are awesome, because it's got to be early morning or really late. I appreciate you. Bush Ranger, Natchez Chase. I know I said that wrong. Natchez Chase. Did I say that right? South of Nashville. You got some wild stuff down south of Nashville. There's some wild Bigfoot activity going on. Jackie, I'm only able to attend Saturday, and I'll be bringing my residents. That's right. Yep. But be good to meet you. I will be meeting, hopefully, multiple people. There's going to be a lot. I know that there is going to be multiple people I've interviewed in the past, and they will be there in person, and that'll be cool to meet them for sure. Donnie, YouTube channel member, in the woods camping and watching my tent. Lisa, Westerville, Ohio. Awesome. That's cool. Charles, 2:40 a.m. UK time. Wow, that's wild. Charles, hats off to you, man. That is pretty sweet. You're rocking it. Dave Olds, we're wild and crazy guys. Steve Martin quote. Awesome. Gotta love those sketches from back in the day. Guys, we got 83 people hanging out. Let me get something revved up here. Let's see. I'm going to go over to BFRO. Maybe we'll read some encounters while we wait. This always does the trick. All right, YouTube channel members, you know the drill. If you're a YouTube channel member, go ahead and request a county and a state, and I will try to read one of those. Liardi? Is that from Montana? Nope. Bushranger, okay, Bushrangers had a few sightings. I mean, you're welcome to call in if you'd like. If not, you can also call me. You can send me an email, bigfootsociety@gmail.com. Let me put that on the screen real quick. Go ahead. You can send me an email there if you want to share. If you don't, that's fine. All right, Jackie's at it. She's the first one in. Deschutes, Oregon. Hopefully I said that right, or I won't get allowed into the state. All right. Ooh, Jackie, Deschutes got 16. Let me share this screen here. Rock and roll. Okay. I'm looking for a Class A. Ooh, okay, let's do this one. August 1980. Two fishermen encounter an unknown biped along a creek. This is by Crescent. The year is 1980, month August. Walking up to a stream to fish for German brown trout, we always try to be quiet so as not to scare the fish. As we got around a 90-degree turn in the stream, we both saw what at first was a bear with its paws in the water. As it saw us, it stood up and looked to be around 7 foot. We both knew it was not a bear, as we have hunted black bear. We dropped our fishing poles and stared. I've hunted and fished. Oh my goodness. That's not the way you say that word. I've hunted and fished in the high lakes in Oregon for a lot of years, but have not been back to this stream since. I think this creature was as scared of us as we were of it. It watched us for about 20 seconds, then turned and headed for the tree line, but turned his head and watched us all the way to the trees, then stood and watched us for about a minute, then in 2 big steps, it was in the trees and gone. Wow, that's wild. All right. Hey, John's here. John Longoria, good to see you. Vampaka is here. Hello, hello. Thank you for being a YouTube channel member. All right, Bushranger is going to send in an email. I appreciate that. Laura, I had a very brief Bigfoot encounter several years ago. It was not a very exciting encounter. I didn't know all the things I know now. Well, Laura, I would say anything is exciting. You're welcome to call in, but no pressure. Let's see. We got, Laura Fished. Do you like that? There we go. Sasquatch Secrets is in the house. Nikki, good to see ya. Thanks for being here. Lake 17. Hey, everyone. Hey. Good to see ya. All right. Well, let me check the phone here. Let's make sure that the phone is good to go. If there's any other YouTube channel members that want to request a county and a state for a BFRO report to be read, you can go ahead. I'll be watching here. I just want to make sure that the Google Voice is rocking and rolling. Oh, yeah. Okay, Gene, yeah, your interview with Connie in Southeast Iowa was incredible. Thank you. Bigfoot Ranch 1 and 2 was crazy. Once I get the time, there's going to be more to the Bigfoot Ranch series. I've got multiple people to reach out to. I've also had off-air, off-record interviews about that area. And guys, there's more to it than Connie was had in her interview. Not to say she was hiding anything, but I'm saying talk to other people about it that didn't want to come on record. But yeah, there's more going on in that area of Van Buren County. So stay tuned. There'll be more coming about the Bigfoot Ranch series. Kimberly David is here. Hopefully I said that right. Hello from Ronkonkoma, New York. Mark Paul, great to see you, Mark Paul. I thought I would let you know we are having interactions daily, Jeremiah. Thank you for that update, Mark. I know that you are definitely having some things going on. Yes, definitely. I appreciate you being here, my friend. Let's see. Slaya. Okay, Jeremiah, how about Park County, Wyoming? It's where Yellowstone sits, and there are lots of Bigfoot decor in the towns around. All right, let's check it out. Wyoming, Park County. Oh yeah, this is the county with the most. Yeah, there's some wild stuff out of Yellowstone. Okay. Let me find here we go, Class A. Year 2002, noon sighting by family of four near Mount Washburn, Yellowstone National Park. I was in my parents' car on the northwest side of Mount Washburn in Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming, when my mom, dad, brother, and I saw a humanoid figure too tall to be human walking upright along a ridge around 300 yards off. It looked hairy and between 8 to 10 feet tall. It was around noon, and it was partly cloudy, and my family was scanning the ridge for bighorn sheep when we saw it. Very interesting. Here's a follow-up report about it. The witness and his parents were interviewed by telephone on August 4th by a Wyoming investigator. Because the witness is a minor, I spoke to his mother, the witness, and the father in turn. All three were consistent in the recollection of the sighting and were continued to be considered to be credible. As they drove north along Grand Loop Road in the vicinity of Mount Washburn and Yellowstone, they observed a dark bipedal animal silhouetted on a ridge about 300 to 400 yards from them, walking purposely across the clearing between stands of trees. The animal's direction of movement was southerly. The biped was described by all as having about 8 to 9 feet tall, covered with dark brown hair, having a robust upper body with a large wide chest and shoulders, and walking upslope much as human would, slightly bent forward as a human might be if they were using a walking stick. That's a great way to put that. Arm swing was implied. The witness's mother stated she looked for his snout, but saw none, although the animal was in profile. The witness's father stated that he observed the biped as it took about 15 to 20 steps before losing sight of it. The witnesses variously observed the biped for 5 to 20 seconds. The location of the sighting was in 2 minutes driving time of the Mount Washburn Ranger Station cutoff. That is wild. Oh my goodness. Okay. A few updates from Mark here. We were outside night before last, and one sounded like a push mower. Yesterday, one sounded off with 2 sets of whoops, 3 each time. Wood knocks 4 days ago. Oh, wow. They're in my front yard every night. We've been listening to audio, and these Bigfoot love to clack rocks, push trees over, etc., etc., etc. Mark, you're be safe, my friend. I know you're in some wild territory down there in Tennessee. Greg, this channel is fire. Thank you so much, my friend. All right, Vampaka, YouTube channel member, requesting, I'm going to say that wrong, Alachua County, Florida. All right. Just a reminder, we got 84 people here. We're hanging out, guys. If you've got a Bigfoot encounter you'd like to share live, you can call on in. Let me put this back on here. In order to call in, fill out the guest release form, bit.ly/Bigfoot form. Then you can call in 515-809-0165. All right. Let's go to Florida. Could there be anything there? There is 4 reports. Let's find, a Class A. Ooh, this could be fun. Okay. College psychology teacher observes Bigfoot crossing road. Animal has covering of leaves and or palm branches near Alakua. Year 1985. We lived in the country with thousands of wild acres around our 5-acre plot. Oh my goodness, that's wild. While walking on our paved road in front of our house one morning, I saw a creature cross the road about 250 yards from me. I'm a trained psychologist with a specialty in ready body language and knowing human gait and movement. This creature moved more like an ape than a human. He crossed at the small bridge over a flowing creek and crawled down the side of the bridge into the creek and disappeared. I ran over and went into the creek, only about a foot deep, see if I could catch up with him, but there was not a trace. The very strange thing is I was covered with green material, and it looked like leaves or palm branches from the sable palm. Have you heard of a Bigfoot doing this to make himself less visible in the woods? Very interesting. I don't think I've had a report like this. Okay, let's see. All right, we got some updates here. We got Bush Ranger. The activity at my place has increased since a neighboring property had about 50 acres logged. It'd been quiet for 2 years. Ding, ding, ding. You take down the trees, they start moving. Let's see. We put up a camera last Friday, and while doing so, a Bigfoot pushed over a tree just to let us know he was watching us. Oh boy, be careful, please, Mark. I took a picture of a Bigfoot print today in my burn pit, 18 inches long. Oof. You're in the thick of it, my friend. Okay, Hike with Mike is hitting us up with some insider knowledge. Alakua is a skunk ape hotspot, just like the Green Swamp. Interesting to know. See, that's why I love these shows, because I didn't know that. And now I know. And now I have it in my mind. Let's see. Vampaka. Yay, thanks. All right, thanks, friend. Okay. You know what? In celebration of going out to Oregon, I'm going to look up Lane County. Let's see. I'm looking through these real quick. Oh, here's a fun one. Okay, Waldo Lake Wilderness. That's east of Oak Ridge. Yeah, nearest town, Oak Ridge. Exactly. All right, so this is from 1992. While we were tent camping at Waldo Lake in the Oregon Cascades at about 4 a.m., we heard a moaning howl. My wife woke me up and said that there was a bear in the camp. I heard the howl and had no idea what kind of animal made that noise. Another camper a few hundred feet away had dogs that started going crazy barking. The howling went on about 20 minutes to a half hour. Our German Shepherd started growling. We got up and got in the car with our sleeping bags, still thinking it was a bear. At about 5 a.m. and still dark, the other camper left in a hurry in his pickup. It looked like he lit about a half-gallon of Coleman fuel in his fire pit. Oh, wow. The flames were probably 6 feet tall. We did not see or hear anything else that night. The next day I walked around and looked for signs of the animal. I walked around the other camp and did not see anything. We joked about Bigfoot coming that night, but I was shocked this last year when I was listening to some of the Bigfoot recordings on the site and then heard the moaning howl from Columbiana, Ohio. It's exactly what we heard, and it gave us chills. Oh my goodness. That's wild. All right, Jackie. Whoop whoop, that's my country. 3 months ago, I started to try to mimic one at dusk. After I did, one came back with samurai chatter. Greg came running and said, "Did you hear that?" I said, "Oh, yes, Greg. It was 40 yards from me." Holy mackerel, Mark. That's wild. Crazy stuff at Mark's place. Guys, we are rocking and rolling. We're about half an hour in. We're having a good time chatting in the comments. Lines are open. We've got about 96 people hanging out here live. It's Bigfoot Encounters Live. If you have a Bigfoot encounter to call in with, you are welcome to call 515-809-0165. We're just kind of hanging out, reading some Bigfoot encounters, though. It's a good time. Hey, what about Klamath County, though, Jackie? Let's take a look. Klamath County is a good one. From what I hear, I've never been there, but Class A. Here we go. All right. Year's 2004. Nearest town. None closer than about 40 plus miles. Chiloquin. That's cool. I'd spent the weekend visiting my kids in Ashland and was returning home to Redmond. I was traveling on a very straight section of 138 east of the pass when I saw a large, very dark, human-eyed figure appear out of the woods and very quickly run great strides across the roadway and disappear into the woods to the south before I could even get to it. It was maybe 50 yards ahead at first sight. Though it was clear, it appeared to be shadowed from head to foot. Oh my goodness. Funny, AKDB. I like your style. All right. Mark Evan White, good to see you, man. Good a headache, but listening. Hey, everyone. I hope your headache goes away soon, my friend. Right, Jackie says, my grandparents lived in Klamath Falls, Highway 58 to 97. The Willamette Pass I know well. Hold on 1 minute, guys. I got an idea. And that's how you get a call. Hey, this is Jeremiah. Sorry, who is this? Oh, hey. Uh, Before we get going, a few things. Can I make sure? Do you have me playing on the computer in front of you? Is there any way you can mute that? Because there's an audio feedback coming back. Okay, cool. And guys in the comments, can we make sure that you can hear uh, Mike, right? Still, hold on. Let's see. I think the feedback is right. That's cool. Okay, so I'm gonna try to give you a call back. They are having issues with not hearing you, so give us a few minutes. We'll call you back. All right, Mike. All right, thanks. Gotta love it, guys. We got tech issues. All right, we'll figure this out though. Okay, let's see. What to do first? Let's try. Am I connected to the roadcaster? Oh, I bet I know. Hold on. Let's try that. Roadcaster reconnect. Okay. Let me try to call back Mr. Scott. Hey, Mike, we're going to see if that did anything. Guys in the chat, if you can put in real quick if you hear Mike. So we'll give this. Okay. So we'll see. There's a little bit of lag usually. No? Dang it. Okay. All right, I'll be right back. Thanks, Mike. Okay, let's see. So I am going to try to. I think if I restart this real quick. All right, I'm gonna power cycle everything. Here we go. Power cycle. You won't be able to hear me for a minute. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me on my? You guys can hear me, right? I just restarted my audio. Also, just be careful what you put in the chat. There's certain things that even if we type it, it can trigger the YouTube algorithm, and I don't want to get the live shut down. So, AKDB, I hear you. Yeah, we're all aware that that happened, but let's just be careful what we type, please. Okay. All right. Almost restarted on my side. Okay. Oh, no problem, AKDB. You're fine. Nothing to be sorry about, but we just got to be careful. This platform is a little bit, it can get interesting. Let's just say that. All right. Let me try Mike again here.
Hello, Jeremiah.
Hey, Mike. So I went ahead and restarted everything. So we are going to see if maybe they can hear you. Let's have you say a sentence or two, please.
Well, I took it off speakerphone this time, so maybe that will help.
Yes.
Matters with the feedback and everything like that. So I don't know.
We're ready to rock, dude.
Anything.
Oh, yeah. Mike.
Okay.
All right. Good. So what's going on, man? It's good to talk to you again.
Yeah, I got some real time info I want to pass along to you guys.
All right.
Down here in southeast Missouri, I had a friend of mine texted me Wednesday night and said that he and his daughter's in high school, had seen some eye shine, real close to their house in north of Cape Girardeau County, here in southeast Missouri. And he said, but the strange thing was the eye shine, he says, seemed like it was about 5 feet off the ground. And he thought that, it's too tall for, a deer or a cat, but, most of your Sasquatch are a lot taller than 5 feet that you see out going around, stuff like that. So he was kind of asking me some questions about, well, what do you think? And I said, well, let's go up and take a look. So last night, me and another research buddy of mine, who happens to be this guy's brother, we met up there and went right to the scene where they saw the eye shine, and we found 11-inch footprints. Now, an 11-inch footprint would indicate a juvenile Sasquatch roughly in the neighborhood of 5 to 6 foot tall. So the size of the footprints at the exact same location, we found 2 good ones, would indicate the height of the eye shine that they had seen on Wednesday night. And in the Wednesday, that was after Tuesday. Tuesday in southeast Missouri, we got the rain of the hurricane. So the ground would have been softened up real good for footprints to show up and stuff like that on Wednesday night. So anyway, hot off the press, activity that we dealt with last night, real time.
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us, Mike. I know you've got crazy stuff going on down there all the time. I actually just the interview's not out yet, but I just interviewed another guy from Missouri. Have you ever met Miguel?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I did I was on a 3-part documentary with him back about 2.5 years ago when that came out, where we went over and had some real good stuff. And then when I was doing my Understanding Bigfoot show, he came on my show one night. So we're good friends.
Okay.
Our schedules, we don't see each other much anymore, but we do talk on a semi-regular basis. So yeah, he's a great guy, great researcher.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just interviewed him last week. We had a good time. It's not out yet. It'll be a few weeks, but I got him set up with making an audio podcast from his content. So his first episode of his audio podcast came out today, I noticed, which people, make sure you're checking that out too. But Mike, thank you for calling in, man.
I want to say one more thing real quick.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As far as you're concerned, you had me on about, it was a few months ago now, probably 3 months ago, probably. I have heard since that came out from so many people. So many people have contacted me about, hey, I saw this. I had people, Jeremiah, that I have known for 30 years.
Really?
And hadn't seen in maybe 10 years or more, that have contacted me and said, I heard you on Bigfoot Society.
No way, dude. That's awesome. Wow.
And I didn't know you were doing this stuff. I too had an encounter, 25 years ago. I just don't talk about it. So that's what, the connections that are being made through things like this. This is what's happening. And I think that's just awesome.
That's amazing to hear. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Mike.
Okay. So anyway, keep up the good work.
All right. We'll talk to you later, dude.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's great to talk to Mike again. I talked to Mike a few months back. It's a great episode about down in southeast Missouri, and definitely check that one out if you haven't yet. It's a great episode. It has Cape Girardeau on the cover. I think I just got. Let me check my email. I get an email when anyone fills out the guest release form. So let me check that real quick. We might have, unless it was Mike. Maybe it was Mike. Uh-oh. We might be getting another call. We'll give him a few minutes to see if it's going to happen. Oh. It would help if you take off Do Not Disturb, dude. It's so funny. Yeah, that would do it, guys. All right. So I might be getting another call. We'll give him a few minutes. Let's get caught up in the comments here. Jackie, you've had 2 inconclusive sightings. Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm about 99% sure it was the big guy, but one could have been a bear, but not acting normal. The other could have been a hairy stump. Sure. The hairy stump, we don't have red stringy moss here. Yeah, that would be a huge thing there. I saw about 6-inch red hairs blowing in the breeze coming off of it. I mean, that's the right length. That's usually, people say 4 to 6 inches from the encounters I take. So, Jackie, either you discovered a new type of moss for the Pacific Northwest, or you may have had a Sasquatch there. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, so the thing is, and Jackie, I'm sure we'll talk in person at the festival, at the Sasquatch Summer Fest. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yeah. Okay, Jackie, so you sent an email with 3 attachments, your encounters. you said you're okay with me reading those right now. I just want to make sure that it's cool for me to read those before I go for it. Okay. All right. Here we go. First encounter. I think it's time I share my first inconclusive sighting. I cannot say definitively that it was a Bigfoot, but enough to conclude there is a high probability it was. A little about me first. I grew up in the rural community of Leeburg, Oregon, and then Marcola, Oregon. In both areas, there were lots of forested areas around. In Leeburg, there was a large cattle pasture, a road, then the mountainside and wilderness from the back of our property. I always heard the howls, knocks, screams, etc. I considered them normal night sounds of the forest. My family were avid outdoorsmen. I learned a great deal about all the usual woodland inhabitants. Bigfoot wasn't something I really talked about. I became fascinated when I came across a book at someone's house when we visited. This was mid-70s, and I was about 9 to 10 years old. So fast forward to early June 1988. My then husband and I had friends that we hung out with all the time. We lived in Springfield. They wanted to go camping and invited us. My husband wasn't interested, but I was excited to get back out to the forest. And so we head up to French Peak Campground above Cougar Reservoir. They were full and gave us the warning bear had been seen in the area, so if we choose a dispersed campsite, be aware. D, the dad of the family, was fine with that as he had protection. We drove further up the way and found a nice spot and set up camp, and I was curious about the gouges in the trees and pulled my car up close enough to measure how high the bottom edge was. After babies fed, they had a 1-year-old and a 9-year-old and my 7-month-old. In napping, D wanted to go out fishing. S, mom, wanted to read, so I took J, the 9-year-old, for a walk. As we walked, we kept feeling like we were being watched, and it sounded like we were being followed. It wasn't a 4-legged creature. We started feeling uncomfortable, so we went back to camp. A short time later, D came back fuming. He demanded to know why J was throwing rocks at him when he was fishing. She had never left my sight. As it got closer to dusk, I walked down to the river to rinse out baby bottles. There were some large boulders across the river to my right, and it was still light, but a lot of shadows on shadows. Behind the boulders was what could have been a bareback, dark hair 3 to 4 inches in length. It didn't move at all. There was no smell. I wasn't really afraid, but I did feel I needed to get back to camp, and I walked backwards up the trail until I was a good 15 yards in the tree line. I quickly walked back to camp. D and S were sitting near the fire, their chairs facing the trail. I squatted between their chairs, my eyes on the trail, and quietly said, I think there's a bear across the river. D got up, and after telling S and me to stay in camp, he went down the trail. He came back about 5 minutes later and started barking orders to us. It was getting darker by the second. He told me to keep my headlights on the trail, and if anything came up, it to shout out. I was then to leave and keep going until I got to the Blue River Market. We headed out less than 15 minutes later. Once we got back to town, I called my husband. When I told him we came back to town because I thought there was a bear across the river, D sarcastically said, yeah, that was some bear. He refused to discuss it ever. I lost touch with them when they moved out of state in 1989. And that's the first encounter. Second encounter. This is my second inconclusive sighting as well as activity I experienced up in the Sharps Creek area out of Cottage Grove. In early August of 2008, my family and I had some downtime. The kids were anxious to try gold panning and the possibility of seeing the abandoned mining town up out of Cottage Grove. We planned on making a day out of it as a family. So we made our way up along Sharps Creek. We had been told that would be the easiest access to the mining town. There was a fair amount of traffic, mostly trucks with off-road vehicles for hitting trails. We were above the Sharps Creek recreational site and campground, and I was in the passenger seat, kids clamoring in the back seat. My husband liked to drive relatively slow on these types of roads so he could take in the scenery. There was a small clearing down the embankment from the road. Something caught my attention as we passed, and I asked him to back up. In the middle of the clearing was what appeared to be a stump that resembled someone sitting with their back to the road and their head bent forward. I think of a child sitting reading a book in their lap. We were close enough. I could see the stump had 6 to 8 inch reddish hairs blowing in the light breeze. I shushed the kid and pointed. They got quiet. I could make out the little petals on the yellow wildflowers also bending in the breeze. I reached into the glove box to get my binoculars out, only to discover the kids had taken them out of the car. While we were close enough to see, we were above it, and I thought the binoculars would help me definitely determine what I was seeing. A truck was coming up behind us as we continued on our way up the road. The kids teased me about how Mom wanted to see a Sasquatch, and for her efforts, she got a hairy stump. On the way back down, we all were watching for that area again. I didn't see as a truck heading up past us in that area. The kids let out a gasp and informed me it had to be a Sasquatch because there was no stump there. Not a surprise. I think you actually saw one, to be honest. It was getting late in the afternoon, and we had to head back home, so we didn't stop to further investigate. So that's my hairy stump, inconclusive sighting number 2. In 2018, I had the opportunity to go on a camping trip with my middle daughter, her husband, granddaughter, youngest daughter, my partner, and my young client. We went to the Sharps Creek campground. We were fortunate to get the last available campsite. We were on the roadside of the campground, and directly across from us was another empty site, but the camp host said no one was to camp there for a while. Interesting. The day was relatively uneventful. The kids went swimming in the creek and explored the grounds. We ate dinner, stayed up late, then turned in. Around 2:30 in the morning, I sat straight up on my cot, grinning. In the distance, there were screams and chatter, as well as large rocks being thrown into the creek. It was a ways off, but the area is like a canyon, so noises reverberate throughout the area. My partner was woke up by the noise and chalked it up to drunks partying down the road. I told him there were no areas to the northeast of the campground for camping, so he shrugged and rolled over. I could hardly go back to sleep from the excitement I was feeling. The next morning, I dropped by the camp host site because I had a couple of questions. He answered those, and we chatted a bit. He told me quite a bit about himself, including his Native American heritage. I sized him up, then asked him, "What was all that noise early this morning?" He looked me dead in the eye and states, "You know what you heard." Whoa, that's awesome. He goes on to say this campers next to us had been the site across from us, but Wednesday about 2 a.m., he was making his rounds, and he noticed their site was lit up like an airport runway. He walked down, and they were in their car, windows rolled up, headlights facing their tent. He asked what was going on, and they told him something huge was right behind their tent and screamed at them. He said he went back to his camper and grabbed a spotlight. He said he saw the big guy standing behind the tent, eyeshine, 8-ish feet tall. He said he told it to stop scaring the campers. He then moved them into the site next to the one we were staying in. He said until things settled down, he closed off the site. He went on to say they seldom come through the trees into the campground, but use the pasture behind the campground as a thoroughfare when coming from the west towards the east. He also said they are highly curious about all the human traffic in the campground and surrounding area. We heard the screams and chatter both Sunday and Monday nights. We were there as well. We also experienced some paranormal activity. There's tons of ghost sightings and such, but I'll save that for another time. It's interesting to note that the campers next to us never returned to the site, and the forest rangers took a missing persons report. My middle daughter ran into the same camp host at Shotgun out of Marcola the following spring, and he said they were never found. Oh my goodness. In June 2019, another camping trip was planned for Sharps Creek with my client's family, my partner, my youngest daughter, the DSPs for the other kiddos, which including my younger daughter, their families, and myself. I ended up getting pneumonia and wasn't able to go with them. Everyone else went with the exception of the mom of the family. One of my coworkers was excited as I had shared my experience from the year before, and she was hoping to have her own experience. This is all secondhand information as I wasn't there. The Sharps Creek campground was closed for the season because there was extensive damage from winter storms. They found a spot about 10 miles up the road. It was someone's claim, but they were allowed to camp as long as no minerals were taken. They set up camp and made a makeshift toilet with some tapestries and a bucket. The kids played in the creek and wore themselves out. My coworker said she was woken up about 2:30 in the morning from the screams and the chatter. She said she was unable to discern where they were coming from, but they did sound distant, like they were closer to the Sharps Creek campground. She said it was really exciting to hear. She told my daughter one of the mornings she had to use the restroom, so she and her partner headed to the makeshift restroom. They even had a small dog that walked with them. He stopped and hid behind her partner and quietly growled at something in the trees. They looked and something large stood up as it had been sitting against a tree and took off into the woods. She said it happened so fast she was unable to give much of a description. She's adamant they are all around the area. Sadly, I've been unable to get back up there, but I hope to this year. I'm going to look up Sharp's Creek real quick. Where is this? Okay. I need to put the right layer on here. Take off terrain. Take off live traffic. I think we're getting a call.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Hi, this is Jeremiah.
Hey, Jeremiah, it's Rod, Bush Ranger.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Thanks for calling in. Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to get a chance. I'm at work, but I slipped out for a bit. Give you a call.
Let's make sure that everyone can hear you real quick. If I could have someone in the comments say that they could hear Rod, please. All right, cool. Laura says we're good. So, feel free to share what you've experienced there. And it okay to go by Rod then?
Yeah, that's fine. That's
awesome.
Fine. Yeah, so I live about probably about an hour and a half south of Nashville. We're just off the Natchez Trace, which is a big, very like a nature strip they've cut through, which has a road going down. You're not allowed to hunt, you can walk it and stuff like that, but you're not allowed to hunt it, nothing like that. Our property here, there's a lot of properties around us that are about 20, 30 acres minimum. And then directly behind us, we have about 300 acres just woodland. And we've been for about 9 years now. And originally when I first came over Australia, I was in the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina. So I'm aware of bears, and I've had all the interactions with bears and mountain lions and stuff like that. So when I got out here, I was building our house. And one night I was just sitting around the campfire, and me and my wife were here, and we heard this. I can't describe it. It was the most hideous scream that you could imagine. And we both looked at each other and was like, what in the world was that? We've been around mountain lions and stuff like that. We've heard them scream in the woods, and people that they sound like a woman getting hurt and stuff like that. But this was different. This was like a blood curdling, just every hair on your body just stood up. You knew something was right. And that was the only thing that happened that night. And we sort of put it out of our mind. Just, oh, well, maybe it was just a mountain lion or something. We were just trying to make a rationalize it in our mind about what it was, and never really thought much else of it. And a couple of weeks went by, and we started to notice just things out of our peripheral vision just moving in the woodline. And so, well, it's just, makes our eyes playing tricks. You don't jump to the conclusion straight away of being anything out of the ordinary. You just think, well, maybe it's just my eyes playing tricks on me. And then we'd start to hear not knocks, but more like claps in the woods, like something clapping, but a solid clap, like a big man just clapping their hands or something like that. And it's weird. It's a weird animal. And really just started to put, these things were just coming together. And we would hear at night, because our cabin that we've built is probably about 30 feet from the wood line. And it's thick wood. It was logged probably about 40 years ago, which is what some of the old timers around here said, that this was logged about 40 years ago. And you can tell there's some big oaks on here and big poplars and stuff like that. So it sort of fits in. And we would hear sort of like something just brushing up against the side of the cabin on the wood. So I'd get up and bring my flashlight outside, have a look, and nothing. You could never see anything. But, thought, well, maybe it's just animals around or something like that. And then it was probably about, the timeline's a little weird, strange to try to remember because it was a few years ago. But it was a couple of weeks after that, I was on my four-wheeler. And down in my valley, we have a spring that flows constantly. And I was on my four-wheeler and I was paralleling the spring, old logging road that runs through there. And I got to a fork in the road and I was taking the right-hand fork to keep following the spring, and this road went up to a hill. And I caught something out of the side of my eye, driving past on the four-wheeler, and I hit the brakes on the four-wheeler. I'd lived on maybe 10 feet past the fork. By the time I got my four-wheeler back into reverse and come back, there was it just looked like a big black mass, but it was definitely up on two back legs. Like it was up on two legs, standing. And I got off, stepped off my four-wheeler, and by the time I looked back up off my four-wheeler, because I thought it was a bear, but it was just too big to be a bear. And bears, we lived on a bear sanctuary. I backed onto a bear sanctuary in North Carolina, so we'd have interactions with bears. I thought, that's a big black bear, especially for here in Tennessee. And from around here, the TWRA says they're here, and neighbors have got them on game cams and stuff like that. So we know they're here. But this was just too big to be a bear. And by the time I literally looked down to slip my leg over the four-wheeler, it was gone. And the woods were very thick, and there was not a sound. You couldn't hear it depart. You couldn't hear it crash through anywhere. But it literally, it felt like it paralleled me on the four-wheeler. And when I stopped the four-wheeler, it sort of froze up on that other logging road. And that was my first sign of one. And then about 6 months later, in between the major things, there was always little things that happened. You'd see lights in the woods constantly, but weren't zipping through fast at this point. They were just really slow, and they're floating. Looked like they were just bopping along, just a slight rise, a drop, a slight rise and a drop. And I thought, someone's messing with us, man. It's got to be someone in the woods messing with us. And, I'd yell out a few times like, hey, if you're back there, you better get out of here, like that. I got my kids here and all that, and I don't want people creeping around the backwoods of our property. And it wouldn't take any notice of me. It would just keep doing its thing. It's very hilly here, so it would just float across the valley. It wouldn't drop down into the valley. So it was, but you're trying to rationalize it. You don't want to think straight away that this is something paranormal, something, just you try to rationalize it. And there was lots of little things like that we'd see constantly. And then it started to ramp up where we would hear hissing. And I got some big dogs. I got some Kangles. I got two Kangles, which are Anatolian Shepherds, and they weigh about 150 pounds each. And we bought them specifically because we were starting to get worried about people being around. That's what we thought it was, just people being around. But then after that sighting on my four-wheeler, I was like, man, this is something weird. And we still didn't jump to the conclusion, well, we got a Bigfoot in our backyard, whatever. And this one night, we were sitting around our campfire again. We got a fire pit, and we're sitting around there just enjoying the evening. And it was probably about the same time of night now. And this light come across the back of my woods. And this is where it gets like, I'm not proud. Like, I'm not proud of what I did. And like, it was pretty stupid what I did. But after the constant, just felt like we were getting harassed by someone or something. And this night I just had enough. My wife was getting panicky. She's like, these people, there's something back there. It's not right. And I knew exactly where it was. It's literally probably about 200 feet from the back of my cabin. So the woodline's about 30 feet, and then this light was about 200 foot. And it's pretty thick woods. And I got a tree stand in there where I hunt. And it's a little section where I've cleared a food plot and stuff like that. And it's right near my tree stand. So I knew exactly where it was. And I grabbed my firearm, and I thought, well, I'm going to go in and confront whatever it is. I just had enough of this, and probably being real, well, it was really stupid. But I went in to the woods, and this light, I was within maybe 20 feet of it, and I watched it come across the ridge, over the valley, and across, but it had a noise to it, which was weird. And I knew this wasn't a person, and I'm yelling at it, and it just stopped probably about 20 foot in front of me. And I just fired at it. It was one of those moments where I was just like, panic took over. I was like, I'm still a little shaky about it because I just can't explain what I seen. I spent 12 years in the army as an infantryman. There's things I've been out in the bush. I've been out in the woods. I've seen some crazy stuff out there, but this was something I couldn't explain. And I was thinking, is it a drone? Is someone flying a drone? But it's like the woods are too thick. You can't get a drone through there. And I literally opened up on this thing. I gave it what I had on me, and it just went out like an old box, old tube TV. That's how it went. It just went whoop, and turned off. And that was it. And I'm standing there like, I'm getting out of here. So I knew I had a couple of rounds left, and I just backed my way out of the woods, come inside, and my wife's like, what in the world was going on out there? I'm like, I don't know what it was. And I explained to her what I seen. And it was just absolutely crazy. And my wife has seen things walking up the logging roads and the trail that leads behind our house out to my tree stand. She said there's literally a big black mass. That's just how she describes it. And she's a very, very religious woman, and she's like, this is not right. Something's not right. And that happened there, and then it seemed to die down a bit. Died down after I had that engagement with it, and then they started logging the property next to me, and they took out about 50 acres of oaks and poplars out of there. They just decimated it, and I'm planning on going over there tomorrow, and I'll take some pictures of it and just show you all that, and take pictures of the fork in the road where I saw the creature. And I'll give you a height estimate. It was probably close to 10 foot high when it was standing on its hind leg, let's say hind legs, but I think it was bipedal. I think it was just had two legs, and it was standing there, and it was literally 10 foot high. And that started up, and they logged that property they finished up about 2 months ago. And ever since then, it's been ramping up here. I'm hearing screeches again in the woods. I don't hear wood knocks. I don't hear whoops or anything like that. But I hear these weird, it's like an owl. But I've never heard these owls before. I'm not saying it could be owls, but they give you that feeling where that's not a normal creature that you would encounter. And I leave for work because I'm an hour and a half south of Nashville, and I leave for work about 4 o'clock in the morning. And I have a neighbor that I work with, so I usually just walk down to his place. I leave my truck here, and I just walk down the driveway, which is about half a mile long, to get down to the road. And about 2 weeks ago, the shadow sort of things, like you just see the whip across the road of like these shadows. But these aren't tall, they are short, and they're very squat, and they're lightning fast, absolutely lightning fast. And, it's that early in the morning, there's no light. We don't have any light pollution out here. And if the moon's up, that's the only time I sort of see them. I presume they're there all the time. And there's this one particular spot, and I always have my flashlight on for that little part of the walk because it's right near a hedge line of trees that poke out close to the road, and that's where they come from, and they whip across. And we've always got rabbits up in our top field, and I think that's what they're doing. They're hunting rabbits or something like that. But I think at this point, they know I'm coming out at this time, and it seemed to get toyed with because it happens constantly, and that's sort of like the story. So every night something happens. You'll hear noises, and I don't see the lights anymore, but we'll hear the noises. We'll hear the screeches every night, and but that's what's happening down here. It's pretty crazy.
It's incredibly intense. I mean, I don't know how you are keeping up with it. I mean, that would mess with anyone for sure. Is this down in Marshall County?
Lewis County.
Lewis County. Okay.
Lewis County. It's near where the Lewis and Clark monument is, where Lewis took his life or was killed down there. So they built a big monument there. It's the Natchez Trace, and it runs down through there.
Okay.
It's sort of like south of Columbia and all that area. And you can look at it on Google Maps, and it's just thick woods all the way through there. There's not much around development. It's...
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, it's pretty crazy. And the reason why I wanted to call in is because I started listening to your podcast, and I heard about the Waverly dogmen and stuff like that. I'm like, man, that's crazy. That just seems like what I'm seeing of a morning. And we're probably 40 miles from Waverly,
okay,
maybe a little bit further, Dixon, Waverly sort of area, but it's all on that same trace sort of area, that same woodland line, so
sure.
I don't know, man, what we're seeing down here, but it really, puts the hairs up on the back of your neck sometimes, and
absolutely,
it's crazy.
Have you ever? I mean, I guess, is it a thing where you want it to not be on your property anymore? You'd rather not have to deal with it?
At first, see, when we first got out here, that was when we first started hearing that big scream and stuff like that,
Yeah.
It was like we were encroaching on its territory. And like I said, there's 300 acres behind us, which is just uninhabited. It's just woods. And then there's a couple of other 100 and 200 acre lots, which people just hunt on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's scattered between them as like 20, 30 acre little farms. And when we sort of put our roots down here, it seems like it didn't want us here. But at first, like I said, I wasn't thinking Bigfoot. I wasn't thinking anything like that. I was thinking someone was messing with us. And then when I went out into the woods to confront what I didn't know what it was, and then the way that that light behaved and the sound that it had, it's like a humming, a buzzing. It was I've never seen anything else like it. I've never experienced that before, and I haven't experienced it since then. But the way it went out like an old TV. An old TV, you turn it off, and it shrinks to the middle and goes out.
Yeah.
And that was, we still see the lights every now and then, but not as regularly as we used to. But people used to tell us, like, I'd mention it to friends around here, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're close to the Trail of Tears. You're probably seeing something paranormal from the Trail of Tears and stuff like that." I'm like, man, I've seen it, man. This is not. I don't know. Like we've had certain things with paranormal stuff. Like we live in some really old historical places around here, like, and that I've worked in and stuff. And I've had things happen to me in places like that, and I just put my head down, keep working, pray a little. I'm just like, leave me alone. I'm not interested. I don't want to know what that is. But this was different. This felt like something that you could harm, and it could harm you too in that way. But I don't know what I can't explain what it was, but it was just it was an incredible like. I look back now, it's incredible what I experienced, but it was, at that time, it was absolutely terrifying, not being able to, because I'm pretty rational, it just did not fit what I knew or experienced before. And yeah, and I think, I don't know whether some people are more susceptible to seeing these things, or it's, or it's just a random thing. I think it's more that certain people are more open to these sort of
absolutely
experiences.
Yeah.
But it was just wild, man. And I thought I'd just call in and share that with everyone. And if anyone else is around this area and has had those sort of things, I'd like to know.
Absolutely.
Anyone else has had those sort of experiences.
I'm glad you called.
But like
in.
I said, it still happens. Yeah. But yeah. All right, man.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, you may be able to get a little bit of, I don't know if you have game cams up around your property. I mean, that does sometimes make them go away a bit.
Yeah.
But
well, I used to put one at the back of my cabin. When things were brushing up against it. And I had one, and I mounted it on the wall, everything, so it would screw in. I knew it was secure, and I never used to get anything on it. But we would hear the noises, but I would never get anything on the camera.
Oh,
and
dear.
I would literally say to my wife, I'm like, we'd hear that noise, and I'm like, I know I've got it this time, and go out and check the game cam, and there'd be 0 pictures taken.
Oh boy.
And
yeah,
it's just, yeah, but, and like I said, I got 2 big dogs, and some nights they will go absolutely crazy. And I never let them off. I never let them out of the fenced area because, I don't want my dogs to get hurt, for one, knowing that this could be something out there that could hurt them. But they're mainly there as a warning system for us, because when I hear them going off, I'll stick my head outside and have a look. Now I'm used to just ignore them or open the window and just tell them to sit down or calm down. But now it's just like, I'm out there every time I hear it, because I've had, like, we've got a small farm here, and I've got pigs and stuff like that. We'll have pigs just turn up missing, just lifted out of the pens. And I've lost 4 this year.
How big are the
just
pigs?
Turn up, go out there, about 130 pounds.
And they're just holy mackerel, dude.
Yeah, they're American guinea hogs,
okay.
Black American guinea hogs. So they're not a huge, big feeder pig. They're a particular breed that I like, and they're about 130 pounds at the moment. The ones that went missing were about 130 pounds. My boars are probably about 220, 230. But, these things they just disappeared, up and disappeared. This is since January I've lost them. So, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like, I've had, where I hunt, I've had a deer that I shot. I came back home to get my 4-wheeler. I knew where it was. I seen it dropped. I've gone back to pick up the deer, and the deer was gone. And I knew I nailed it, you know. And then you start thinking, well, maybe I'm just a crappy shot, and the thing got up and ran away or something. But I knew I got it because I go to the blood trail, and there's just too much blood loss for it to get up and run. But there's no other blood trail. You know, I've had that happen to me once, and there's just some wild stuff happening, man. And it's.
Do they ever hit the side of your house?
Not hit it, they rub it. It's like if you'd put your hand on it and you would just slide your hand down the wooden logs, just dunk, 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 like that.
Boy, that's weird. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
It's usually a slapping of the house.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I've been listening to, and everyone said, oh, they slap it. I'm like, I've never had my house slapped. It's always just that fingers going over the logs. And like the logs I milled all the logs myself, and they're probably minimum 10 inches. And you'll hear them like it's a big hand going across them, like dunk, 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 dunk. Like you could do it on small like a corrugated sort of surface with your hand, and you just flick it off. And that's what it sounds like they're doing on the big logs. It's weird. I have no idea what it is. Well, I probably do have an idea what it is, but I'm trying to rationalize it. And like, well,
any large handprints?
But it's got to the point.
Oh, sorry.
No, you never see it because the timber's dry. I've never seen it, any sort of marks on it. You know, it's unexplainable. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
I never see handprints. Now, I have seen one time when I was down in my valley. There's an old cabin in my old valley. In my valley, there's an old cabin. And it's pretty marshy down there. It's like a spring head's popped up. And I don't know whether that's why the people deserted that cabin at some point, because it got so marshy down there. But there was a footprint in the soft soil. And it wasn't big, like I hear people say 18 inches and stuff like that. It was more like a size 12 or something like that. But it was barefoot, and it was wintertime.
Mm.
You know, I've seen that. And it was perfect. You could make it out. Like, it wasn't like, oh, that could be a foot. There was one toe, like the toes and the rest of the foot. And the second step was like the heel and the outer part of the foot, like it had stepped up and walked off. And right at that spot, there was a tree probably about 8 inches in diameter that had been uprooted and dropped down over the path.
Oh boy.
Which was where I took my four-wheeler, where I had that siding of it parallel on me along the spring. And that's where it was. It was like, and I thought about it at the time. I was like, maybe it's just telling me don't come any further than this. You know, that's what it felt like. You know, this is our area. You know, we might concede that. But then after it was logged, it's all started to ramp up again. And yeah, so that's it, man.
Keep an eye on, if you could keep an eye on like any like windows or like car windows, just to see if you start noticing like any like large handprints that would, sometimes those will start to show up. But yeah, this is a very intense, active situation from what it sounds like. And thank you for sharing it with us, and definitely keep us up to date with what's going on. But yeah, this is a really active one from what I can tell.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate being able to tell you that and getting maybe get a few answers from it here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Always feel free to reach out if you need to, Rod. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Jeremiah.
All right. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Wow. That Rod is going through some stuff. That was intense. Jeff has, that's a great idea Jeffrey. I can't highlight comments right now for some reason. Put a camera on the pigs. That's a great idea. That's a good idea. Gene says, thanks for the caller. Sounds like juveniles, or he needs to tell them to leave him alone. Okay, yeah. Maybe he should verbally say, leave me alone. Hide a camera in the floor of where the pigs stay. Interesting. Okay, interesting idea, Jeffrey. Pointed upwards. Okay, yeah. And be careful. Absolutely. Guys, we've been having we had some good calls tonight. Appreciate you all being here. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. We got 118 people watching live. I appreciate you all being here. It's been about an hour and a half, so I think that's a good time frame. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any of these. This is probably not going to happen next Saturday because I'll be in Oregon and I won't have the right equipment with me. But make sure you go over to get a TikTok account. Follow Bigfoot Society over on TikTok. It's bigfoot.society. And I can do stuff on TikTok with a lot more equipment. I might be able to pull that off over there. So make sure you're following the Bigfoot Society account over on TikTok. It's bigfoot.society. But you guys all rock. Appreciate y'all being here, spending your Saturday night. Few things to remember. Bigfoot Society Podcast is on all major podcast platforms. We're on YouTube, of course. That's where you are right now. If you want to go and get involved with a community, we have patreon.com/Bigfoot Society. You get extra episodes every week. You get early episodes. You get ad-free episodes. You get to hang out with other people that are into Bigfoot and pretty wild. And we have a good time and we have a chat. We watch stuff together and it's all good times. I'll see you guys in Oak Ridge, Oregon, if you'll be there this coming weekend. And I'll have a report when I see you guys next. Thanks for being all, guys. I appreciate you for being here and have a great rest of your night, guys.